Hi, welcome to the tutorial for the drawstring bag. When you've cut out or chosen your two fabrics, I've chosen the one with the plant pots and teamed it up with the pop orchid colour. This needs to be 19 inches by 19 inches. You're then going to turn them over so that they are right sides together. And you're going to take this to the sew machine and you're going to sew from about here all the way round up to about here, leaving about 4-inch gap to turn the fabric through. Okay, make sure you secure your stitches at the start and the end with a back stitch, and we're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I shall see you back here once I have sewn. Right, so we've sewn around the edge from here all the way round up to here, leaving that gap there. Before we turn it through, what we need to do is just go to our corners and snip our corners, taking away the excess bulk. And then also trim any excess fabric that you might have, okay? Right, the next thing we want to do is get the iron, give this a press, and where we've got our opening up here, we are going to turn that fabric over along the seam line, and I'm just going to press that with my fingers now. Do the same for the other side and just follow along the seam line. So get the iron, give that a press, and then we're going to turn it inside out. So I've just pressed our bag and made sure that all of the edges are pressed nicely, our opening has been pressed. And what you're going to do now is take this to the sewing machine and you're going to do a top stitch all the way around your making of your bag. So again, I'm going to probably use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Go around, making sure you secure your stitches at the start and the end, and make sure that you catch in that opening of the fabric here that you turn through. Okay, I'll see you back in. Right, so we've top stitched all the way around the edge. For the next part, we need to do some measuring, and you need to decide what fabric you would like as your main fabric for this bag. So I have made one here out of the other selection of the fabric. So you can see that I have chosen the frog fabric here as my main fabric, and then the lilac fabric inside here. So that's my contrasting fabric in the centre there for my pockets for this drawstring bag. I would like for this one, for the flower pots, to be the main fabric on the outside. So that needs to then turn over. And we're going to do some marking on this side. So you're going to get your ruler. You're going to find your diagonal centre point going across. And mine is there, and you're going to mark 4 inches from either side. So my 4 inches will come in here, let's go over that again, and I'm going to do the same for the other side. Find the centre. And then mark that 4 inches across. just going to turn my iron on. So the next stage will be to iron down across these lines. So I'm just going to fold them ready so we can see the line going across here. Now to make it easier, what you can do is get some pins. I'm just looking for mine a second. And you can place a pin just along that line there, and the same this end. Repeat it for this one and this side, and this will just help us know where to fold to. So we've got our pins here. We're going to fold over to where that line is, up to the pin marks. Pull that back a little bit. There we go. We'll turn that round, and we're going to do the same this side. So we've got that line there. Just make sure that goes over nicely. That marks folds goes to the pin line, and that one needs to be pulled a little bit more to there. So what we're going to do now is press this in place. Right, so we folded those into the centre and pressed, and the next stage is to fold these in. Now, if I bring that up a bit closer, you need to make sure when you're folding it in that you can choose the thickness of your contrasting fabric along here and how much you would like to show. I've gone for about 1.5 centimetres on mine and folded it in. So the next stage, we are going to get our marker again, and we are going to measure a quarter. Move this up a second. We're going to measure 1/4 of an inch from this edge here. So I'm just going to go across this way and make sure I've got my quarter. So my quarter's along here, so it's not that much, and we're going to go all the way across, marking our fabric. Right to the end there. Make sure we can see that. And the next mark is going to be 3/4 of a mark on here. So in total, from the fabric, it equates to 1 inch from the edge. And you're going to go across there. And we're going to do exactly the same down the other end. Now what we're creating at the moment is the area for the ribbon to go in for the closure of the drawstring bag. Now we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and we're going to go straight across from here all the way across those lines that we have just created. Right, so we've just gone to the sewing machine, and as you can see on here, we have stitched the 2 lines all the way across here, ready for our ribbon to go through. Now we need to secure the bottom of our pockets. So obviously this is our pockets going in here, either side. And you're going to get your ruler and you're going to go across the centre point. So I can feel the tips of my triangles here at the edge of my fabric. And that really should be about the centre point there. But I'm just going to be a little bit more accurate and just measure that. So mine is so you can do the same, just measure yours and then you can draw your line across, or you can do it from the points of your corners of your fabric that you can see underneath. And what you're going to do is take this to the sew machine and you're going to sew across here. Right, so I've just taken this to the machine and we have done our centre stitch across here. You're going to now get a hold of your bag and you're going to fold it in half. So you've got that centre stitch down the bottom there, and you're going to take it to the machine and you're going to sew down this edge, securing your stitches at either end, and sew down this edge, again securing your stitches. Right, so we've just taken to the machine and we've stitched along both lengths. Now for my bag, you can, if you wanted to, you can go to the next stage on this bag here if you don't want boxed corners. So I quite like the boxed corners on the bag because it means that when you have stuff in here, it just gives it more structure to stand up when you've got your, as I said, when you've got your bag. So I'm going to box these corners. Now in order to do that, you're just going to go to your corner here and you're going to line up your stitching from this edge here to the stitching down the middle there. So you're kind of creating a triangle. You might have to poke your hand inside. Right, okay, so that's my triangle. Now from that, you can measure as much as you like. I'm just going to do an inch along that seam line and box along for an inch. So we are about there. Draw your line across and do the same on the other side. Turn it over, get your seam lines joined up. And across here. So I'm going to take that to the machine and stitch across those lines. And we're nearly done. Right, we're coming to the last stage of our bag. We've just boxed the corners here. Entirely up to you whether you want to cut off that excess fabric. I'm just going to leave it in and turn our bag through. Straighten out those corners. Right, so now you can see we've got quite a large bag here, and we now need to do the ribbon, which is the last stage. So if you've got a loop turner for your ribbon, use that, or if you're old school like me, just use a safety pin, pop that through the end, and you're going to start from one side and you're going to move that through the channel that we made for the ribbon. Coming through, and we're going to go over, so you've got your join here You're going to pull that through, and then you're going to go back into this side and take it all the way round. This is where it's probably easier with the loop turner. I think I need to get myself one of those. Okay, so that's one side. Take that off. Make sure it's the same length. And I'm going to tie a knot, those two together. If you've got any embellishments or anything at home, you can always add some beads or whatever you might have. Now you're going to get your other piece of ribbon and do exactly the same process, but you're going to feed it in now from the opposite side. So where you've got the ribbon here, I'm going to go in this way, all the way round, back out this way. Through and then go back. And do exactly the same on this side. Place them together and tie a knot. There we go. So now we have got our drawstring bag completed, and you can see you've got the lovely pockets at the front here and on this side. Now with the other one I made, I ended up putting your free gift, which is the little frog, as an embellishment hanging down on here, which was rather sweet. So you've got two lovely bags that are ideal for presents, for your gifts, actually putting your gifts in and instead of wrapping paper, etc. So it's a nice eco-friendly gift bag. Hope you enjoyed.